This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
And welcome to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and for the next 4 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X-Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X-Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern. That's 7 p.m. Pacific until 11 p.m. Pacific. Right here on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and across the United States, Canada, Central America, South America, the Pacific Rim, 21 Asian countries, and Europe on our growing family of broadcast affiliates. If you'd like to give us a call, our toll-free number is 1-877-528-8255. Now, that is toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii at 1-877-528-8255. My email address, xzone@talkstarradio.com. On MSN Messenger, talkstarradio@hotmail.com. And our two websites, www.xzoneradio.com and www.xzonetv.com. My producer tonight at Master Control, the home of the Talkstar Radio Network in Titusville, Florida, is Melanie. And our chat room moderator from Scarborough, Ontario, is Rob. On tonight's show, Jason Leigh joins us. We're going to be talking about UFOs seen in World War II documentaries. Bobby Legend in hour number 2 is going to be talking about the Afghan government, culture, and drugs. Our good friend Douglas James Cottrell joins us in hour number 3 to talk about 2012 and Earth changes. And in our final hour tonight, John Horgan will be joining me, and we're going to be discussing everything from UFOs, to cryptozoology. That's tonight here on the X-Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network. Today is Wednesday, April the 29th, and on this date in history in 1913, the zipper was invented. In 1965, a 6.5 earthquake hit Seattle, Washington, and on this date in 1988, McDonald's announced that they were going to build their very first restaurant in Russia. On today's birthday watch, Jerry Seinfeld turns 55 today, and to all the members of the X-Zone Nation who are also celebrating their birthdays, to you, a very happy birthday. The World Health Organization has upped its alert level. It is now number 5. Yesterday at this time it was number 4, and the top level is 6. And we're going to be watching that very closely. Also, in the case of little Victoria Stafford in Woodstock, Ontario, a $50,000 reward has been offered, but still, little Victoria has not been found. And that is going back to April the 8th. We're coming up on that 1-month mark. And once again, X-Zone Nation, if you have any information on little Victoria Stafford, please contact the Oxford Community Police, the Ontario Provincial Police, your local detachment of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, or Crime Stoppers. When I come back from this 2-minute commercial break, Jason Leigh will be joining me. We're going to be talking about UFOs in World War II. That's coming up next here on the X-Zone. After all, this is truly a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern. And then the show is repeated in its entirety from 2 a.m. until 6 a.m. Jason Leigh is up next here on the X-Zone. And still to come on tonight's show, Bobby Legend talking about Afghan government, culture, and drugs. Douglas James Cottrell talking about 2012 and Earth changes. And John Horrigan discussing everything from UFOs to cryptozoology. My name's Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone, and we're coming to you live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. We'll be back after this 2-minute break.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine like hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining room can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you're visiting, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best.
Are you interested in the paranormal, ghosts, UFOs, or psychic phenomenon? Join me, Tim Bartley, co-host of Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina, coming mid-January 2017 to the XZBN. We will channel spirits live and talk to them, revealing all kinds of amazing information. Spiritual attachments will be found and removed on the show, and so much more. To find out when you can listen to Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina, visit www.xzbn.net for listeners on both sides of the veil.
Joining me now is Jason Leigh. His website is www.jasonleigh.org. And Jason, tonight you're going to be talking about UFOs in World War II. And how are you, good sir?
Well, very fine, Rob. If you'd allow me a quick caveat to your news report about this flu epidemic. Mm-hmm. Only half an hour ago, they announced that in the small town of Cleburne, Texas, the public schools are going to be closed until May 5th. Because there was suddenly a student who developed the flu today, and it made news, national news actually, that a small boy died in Houston from the flu today, but it turned out that boy was a Mexican immigrant. But now they're saying that it's graduated to a pandemic.
Well, it's still number 5 on the list issued by the World Health Organization, and the World Health Organization has not declared it a pandemic yet. So until we hear it from the WHO, Jason, here at the X-Zone, we are going to be complying with the UN ratings of number 5. But I surely believe that after talking to Dr. Maurice Ramirez yesterday and to Dr. Patricia Doyle, that it certainly will reach pandemic strength within the next 48 hours.
Yes, that's really amazing. But at any rate, to get back to our topic, which is really going to be exciting, very exciting, I don't always, in fact, I never look for UFOs in Hollywood movies, especially World War II docudramas. Mm-hmm. And this particular movie, Rob, I've seen it before, naturally in the past, but I noticed that they had a table at the video rental store of videos that were sort of on special for like a $2 rental, and this movie was there, and I thought, I picked it up, and it said special edition with a new documentary added to it, and I thought, well, now that I have widescreen TV, I'll rent this, and take another look at it. It's the movie Tora, Tora, Tora.
Oh, a classic.
Oh, yes. It was nominated for 5 Academy Awards. There were 2 directors. One director directed the American segment of the movie, the attack on Pearl Harbor, and a Japanese director directed the Japanese aspect of the movie and combined the 2, which, by the way, the overall movie, there's a disclaimer at the beginning of the movie which shows that the movie was approved for factual content by the United States War Department and the Japanese War Department. So if you'd keep that in mind, this is really an amazing thing to see. I watched this movie the first time just this past weekend, and I'm not really big on movies with subtitles, Rob. To be honest with you, they annoy me because if I'm busy reading subtitles, I'm missing facial expressions on the actors, camera angles, and everything else. So I really avoid movies with subtitles. And in this particular movie, there are scenes where the Japanese officers are wearing white sailor uniforms and the subtitles are in white font, so you can't even read what they're saying, So it was very distracting, and I fast-forwarded, is what I did, and just went right past this one point and didn't really see it the first time I watched it. And that was on a Friday night. And then Sunday afternoon, it was a rainy day and nothing much going on. And I thought, well, I'll watch it again, and this time I'm going to watch all of it, And sure enough, 35 minutes and 43 seconds into the movie, and that's zeroed at the very beginning of the movie when the opening credits begin and everything, we see on the deck of this Japanese ship about, I'd say 20-odd naval officers of the Japanese Imperial Navy, with the commander-in-chief at a desk sort of at the end. There's 2 rows of officers, and they're sitting facing each other in 2 rows on this ship. And as the commander-in-chief is asking these top-ranking officers for comments, this one particular Japanese officer starts raising his voice in sort of a protest about holding off on the attack, is really what he was objecting to. And then the camera switches to a tight shot of him, which is a headshot, if you will. And at that point, just above his hat on what would be his right side, the viewer's left side, we see this otherwise huge triangular-shaped UFO slowly gliding down, and then you see it sort of tilt and angle at a 45-degree, and it's heading downward. Okay, now there's a partition behind these naval officers, which was probably done by the director of the movie, because there might have been something on the other side of these men that might have showed modern-day Japan, or something, wherever that particular aspect of the movie was filmed, which, by the way, I'm preparing a research paper to find out where that aspect of the movie was shot, the day, the month, everything. I know the movie was released in 1970, but sometimes it takes a year or 2 years to put together a movie. So this could have happened in 69, 70, 68. I have to find all that out. But I've been in contact with some people, a historian at 20th Century Fox, which was the movie company that released the movie. And I've gotten the ball rolling on trying to get some information on a lot of... Now, this is almost 40 years ago. This is 39 years ago. But nevertheless, it's important in a sense, Rob, that this was a movie that was approved by the United States War Department for factual content. Now, as you know, being in the media yourself, and you know my background in television news and in production with PBS, I've been an editor, cameraman, and also a director. Now, one of the major rule of thumb editing rules that we have is we look for flaws, okay? We either look for flaws in the actor, flaws in camera angle, flaws in the film, flaws in the background, everything of that nature. We're trained when we edit film or video to look for these things. We don't really watch it in the sense of enjoyment, as it were. We're watching for technical errors of all sorts. And that's what the director, the cameraman, the production people, the editor especially, they're all looking for. And that's what leads me to believe, Rob, that this one it probably slipped right on by the U.S. War Department because they might have been aggravated by the subtitles and the Japanese speaking and all of that, like I was to begin with. So it probably just slipped right on by them, but it damn sure didn't slip by the director and the editor of this movie, nor the production people, the post-production people at that.
So are you saying, Jason, that this was left in on purpose?
Yes. Oh, yes, I do believe it was. Because, for one thing, Rob, it couldn't have been an airplane, okay? It couldn't have been an airplane because, as we know, airplanes are metallic. And at that particular time of day, you can see that not only is it Hollywood lighting on this ship, but it's definitely filmed outdoors. It wasn't filmed on a soundstage. It's definitely outdoors. You can see the sun shining down on these men. So if this object appeared behind this man, the sun would have been shining on an airplane, which would have been otherwise silver or gray metallic, and it would have shown, reflected the light. This did not.
Is it possible it was made of the same material that the F-117 is made of?
I don't believe so.
Non-reflective black tiling?
No. It appeared white, almost jellyfish-like, but triangular to boomerang-shaped.
Were you able to capture that image off of the video and make a JPEG or another still photo of it?
No, I tried to, but because it was a rented video and I guess the copyright imprint on the formatting and everything, I could make a copy of it, but I couldn't edit that particular portion of the movie out. In other words, just to watch it on my computer, I could freeze it and pause it and all that. But when I went into the video editing aspect of it, because of the copyrights and all of that, a screen would come up and would not allow me to edit it.
How about a snapshot?
No, I couldn't do that because, to be honest with you, Rob, I don't really know how to do that on this new computer. Right. I have this Vista computer. It's a new one now, and I'm just not that familiar with it. But I will get help when it comes to getting all of that, involved in it for the world to see. But until then, I'm afraid people are going to have to rent the video or possibly buy it, things of that nature. But now in my research paper, which I've gotten a couple of magazines very interested, in fact, in this research paper that I'm putting together on it, we're going to have a freeze frame of, that particular scene showing the UFO over this Japanese officer's head, just for the dramatic issue of reading the article, for one thing,
Well, plus that's what the entire article is going to be based on, isn't it?
Exactly. And it's seen for between 4 to 5 seconds, okay? And that should be enough time. It was enough time for me, and I saw it, maybe 8 times all total, just backing it up and reviewing it, in real time and then frame by frame. And, of course, frame by frame does not reveal propellers, which in 1970 we did have some jets, but over there in Japan, I was looking for a military type of a plane because this was obviously filmed on a Japanese ship. So I'm thinking, okay, well, let's, just like in my video from 1995, I want to rule out everything that it could possibly be.
Jason, stand by. I've got to take a commercial break with the news. Jason Leigh is our special guest, www.jasonleigh.org. Still to come on tonight's show, Bobby Legend, Douglas James Cottrell, and John Horrigan. My name's Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone, live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. We'll be back after the news. Don't go away.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
1-877-528-8255 is toll free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii. My name is Rob McConnell, and this is the X-Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network. My guest this hour is Jason Leigh, and Jason's website is www.jasonleigh.org. Jason and I are talking this hour about a scene that only Jason could catch, and that's a compliment, Jason, in a movie entitled Tora, 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 which was released in 1970. And Jason, always great having you here on the show. Do you think that there are other movies out there that may in fact have these little UFO bits in them that the directors and other members of Hollywood have deliberately left in for us to find?
Yes, and I'm going to blow your mind by mentioning one. And thank you for the compliment, Rob. And one of the first things I did was I searched the Internet to see if someone else had ever spotted this in that movie, Tora, 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 and no one has. So I do feel fortunate in that sense that this research paper will, certainly give my byline a little bit of a boost, because I'm going to have to spend some money getting all of this done. But first, for a little technical information, the movie was shot using a 70-millimeter Panavision camera. In 1970 was the release date. Now, in 1970, I was filming a movie with Clint Eastwood down in Baton Rouge, a Civil War movie. So I had the experience of actually seeing and being filmed with a 70-millimeter Panavision camera. And, Rob, these cameras are monsters. These things are as big as a Volkswagen almost, okay? And the director, Don Siegel, let me sit in the little director's chair and look through the eyepiece and everything and told me a lot of technical information about it. So that particular year, I was doing a movie myself. But, now this is really fascinating. A John Wayne movie, a lot of people are going to remember this, a movie called Rio Grande, otherwise pronounced Rio Grande by the Mexicans. That starred John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara, which was a cavalry movie, if you will, filmed in the Moab Desert out in what they call Monument Valley, made famous by the director John Ford.
Right.
And there's a scene which was shot at nighttime around a campfire, and I found out by going to the website, and actually Miss O'Hara is still alive, and she has a website. And one of the actors, Harry Carey Jr., has a website dedicated to Westerns and Western memorabilia, that sort of thing. And they're alive and well. So I'm trying to get in contact with them to verify a few things on Rio Grande. But there is a scene to where John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara are talking around this little campfire. And in the distance, we see the Moab Monument Valley and these spiked, mountains that are so famous throughout the world in the distance. And if we look very closely above John Wayne's head, we see suddenly a flying saucer comes just sort of horizontally zooming through the sky. It stops in place, and it falls, zips down, and then it zips up, and then zips back in reverse from the direction it came in. Now, I found out there are 3 theories about that. First and foremost, it was real. Secondly, the brother team of the Lydecker brothers, who were special effects men for 30-odd years in Hollywood, very famous special effects men, after this particular movie, Rio Grande, they were hired to put together a flying saucer movie. And there was speculation that they had built a 6-foot in diameter, remotely controlled flying saucer to be put in this otherwise B movie about flying saucers. Now, back in 1950 and 51, I don't know if you know that much about electronics and remote control, it was very, very limited, the range on remote control. Not at all anywhere near today. You know, we have satellite connection for these remote-controlled spy planes and everything. So the distance was just very, very limited. And this UFO is seen miles away. I mean, just miles away. I've been in the Roswell Desert, and I was 73 miles north of Roswell out to the alleged crash site. There's a group of mountains out there, Rob, called the El Capitan Mountains. Now, from where I was, 20-odd miles out in the desert, the El Capitan Mountains looked like, a couple of miles away.
Right.
They were almost 30 miles away.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's just, you lose, out in the desert.
Perception, yes.
Yeah, you can't really discern distance that well. So I'm thinking remote control, well, maybe they had a limited range of under a quarter of a mile easily, probably just a couple of 100 feet, maybe 1,000 feet at the most. But, of course, I'm looking into this. That was the second aspect. But John Ford, a 4-time Academy Award-winning director, I don't think, once he gets into the editing room, he sees something like that, and if he thinks that the Lydecker brothers are doing this in a John Wayne movie at that, just to what? Pull a prank on John Wayne or John Ford, they're going to get their butts fired and never work in Hollywood again. So something was up with that. So was it special effects? I'm still looking into that. The third possibility is that it was a stage light being moved around. Okay, well, having worked in movies and in television, I know that once spotlights and stage lights are set, they are not moved unless the actors move. Okay, but this is a campfire scene, so why would there be a spotlight moving all around in the distance? Okay, and John Ford, the director, is obviously going to see that, and he's going to holler, "Cut! Fire the guy that's operating that light! What are you doing running my movie?" And John Ford had, from what I've seen and read and heard about, had a mighty fierce temper. So he wouldn't allow something like that. And that's the third theory, is that it was a roaming stage light. I don't buy that. Number one and number two, I could possibly buy that it was a real UFO, number one, and they let it get through the movie because John Ford had an interest in UFOs. He actually had seen a couple of UFOs in his life, and it was mentioned in one of his biographies. So there's a little caveat that I would like to probably go with right there. John Ford, once they developed the film, saw that it was a UFO and decided to keep it in the movie just to see how many people would even notice it, and for historical value. Because let's face it, whenever anyone, either home video like what I shot, or snapshots from cameras, or let's face it, a Hollywood movie captures a spaceship from another world or another dimension, wherever they come from, it's history. And if it happens to be in a Western with John Wayne, so be it. Let it go and let the people see it for those that do see it. I'm thinking most people aren't going to see it because they're going to be watching John Wayne or the very beautiful Maureen O'Hara.
Is it possible, Jason, that this... well, first of all, this was shot at night? So
this was in the early evening, because you can still see those monuments in the background. They call them monuments, but they're just these stalactite-looking hills and mountains and just odd creations of nature.
Well, this is truly a very interesting case, Jason. And where do you take it from here?
Well, I've written a short article about it because I thought, well, writing a short article about the Tora movie is one thing, and then researching that, I found out about the Rio Grande movie, the John Wayne movie that I just mentioned, And then I also remembered a movie from the 60s, another Western, to where this was on one of those UFO TV shows, to where they had the same thing happen. A UFO goes flying by an actor's head, but they cut it out of the movie, okay? But they left it as an outtake, and this otherwise UFO show, like Unsolved Mysteries or Sightings, one of those, I can't remember which one it was, but I do remember seeing it. They show the outtake of this obvious UFO flying by in the distance of this actor, you know, playing in a Western. So it's happened in other Hollywood movies before.
Interesting.
And it's probably happened even unto this day.
Like you say, it's funny that it wasn't hacked out in the editing room.
Yes, especially Tora.
Yeah.
Because that's they call it a docudrama, which is to say it was filmed like a documentary, although it was dramatized by actual actors rather than the real players from the attack on Pearl Harbor, most of whom were deceased or very, very elderly by the time 1970 rolled around. And most of the actors in the movie, like Joseph Cotton, was very elderly in 1970 when this movie was being filmed. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the other actors who played generals, you know, and that's 39 years ago, and most of these actors have passed away. And that's going to be the challenge. Once this historian from 20th Century Fox finds out some information for me on who I could contact, like, is the cameraman still living? Who shot it, you know, in Japan? Is the Japanese director still living? Did he know about it? Did the editor know about it, who edited that portion of the movie, either the Japanese or the American studio in California? Whoever edited it was bound to have seen it. So they allowed it in the movie. And this is the widescreen version, by the way, Rob, although in a closed caption, what we otherwise commonly call a full screen version, I'm thinking it probably still can be seen because, as I said, it's a tight shot or a head shot from the waist up of this naval officer, and you can see this obvious UFO flying just behind his hat.
Jason, in your opinion, what is the best UFO movie out there?
The best UFO movie? You mean factual UFO movie, like documentary,
yeah.
Or? I would have to honestly say the one I've been the most impressed with is Out of the Blue, by James Fox.
Yeah, that is a good one.
He has a new one coming out, which they asked for my footage, the broad daylight footage from June the 11th, 1995, to be included in it, which is called Into the Blue, I believe is the working title. I don't know if they've gotten into editing or not, but they asked me for a copy of my video, which I gladly sent them, along with my factual findings, all of the research work that I did, taking the video out of it. Let's just, concentrate on the witness itself and the sighting itself and all the information I could find out, if there hadn't have been a video to prove it even further. So I would think, yeah, that's probably the best one I've seen, Rob. And over the past 30, almost 40 years, I've seen just about every one that's ever been released, every UFO documentary. And I would consider that one the best. Coming in at a very, very close second, the shocking NASA tapes, which we mentioned in a previous show, that shows those just incredibly huge flying saucers, for a better word, or spaceships, and thousands of them. At first we wanted to say hundreds, but there's probably thousands of them shot when that tether, the 2-foot mile or 20-foot mile tether, however long it was, I forget now, either 2 miles or 20 miles, tether broke loose. And they were capturing it, the astronauts shooting out of the porthole, all of these, and they were breathless. You could tell for like almost a minute, Houston asked the astronaut, and what is that we're seeing in the foreground? And the astronaut is a female, she's just sort of, and you can hear her gasping, because she knows if this tether is 2 or 20 miles long, I forget which, and this spaceship-looking thing, circular diameter, rotating clockwise on the top, by the way, comes underneath it, and it's like a third of the size. Well, just think a third of 20 miles, okay? We've got close to, 7, 8 miles wide? I mean, that's just phenomenal. That's the size of a small town, or a small city, flying around. And there are just hundreds, if not 1,000 of them flying all around. And 2 or 3 of them that I've seen in that NASA tape, they approach the Earth horizontally, they stop, and then they zip straight up, okay? I dare any space debris to do that. And it shows not 1, but 2 of them doing that.
All right, Jason, stand by. You and I have to take our final break for this hour. Jason Leigh is our special guest. www.jasonleigh.org. That's JASONLEIGH.org. Coming up next, Bobby Legend will be joining me. We're going to be talking about the Afghan government, the Afghan culture, and Afghan drugs. That's here on the X-Zone, live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
19 Sergeant Central. 19 Sergeant, check. Officers on the scene.
Hi, I'm Larry Lawson, host of Paranormal Stakeout. With over 36 years in law enforcement, I have learned a few things. The most important is the proper gathering and preservation of evidence is vital to putting the bad guy behind bars. It's no different in the world of paranormal investigation. Whether it's the search for the afterlife, cryptozoology, UFOs, and extraterrestrials, how we gather the evidence, preserve that evidence, and present it to a jury of our peers will make the ultimate difference in proving the existence of worlds and entities that are beyond our imagination. Join me, Larry Lawson, every week on Paranormal Stakeout when, along with my guests, we'll take a journey to prove with indisputable evidence what man has struggled to believe for centuries. Go to xzbn.net for the broadcast schedule and check me out at paranormalstakeout.com.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Jason Leigh is our special guest, www.jasonleigh.org, JASONLEIGH.org. Hey, Jason, any more massive UFO sightings over Texas?
None that I've... actually, I just got an update from Major Filer this afternoon, which I haven't had time to read, but I saw that, he lists the states and the countries in a quick paragraph as to when UFOs were seen this particular week that he releases his review, and I saw that Texas was among them, so I'll read into that, but none that have made the news here locally in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Is there any more talk or investigation going on about the Stephenville UFO that was very, very well publicized around the world?
None that I know of, and I've been in pretty close contact with Angela Joyner and Steve Allen, and as I mentioned the last time we were together a few weeks ago, I have this Cleveland police officer who has offered to loan me this spotlight on a trailer. It's kind of a lawnmower trailer.
Right, yes.
And the idea is to go out whenever there is a sighting there and try to shine a light on this thing and get some footage of illuminating this object, or objects, plural. But that is yet to be, and that may come this summer. Because there'll probably be a lot of camping out to do, which I'm very excited about doing,
Jason, when is the hot time for UFO sighting in Texas?
Well, as I mentioned to you before, I spent 6 months trying to find out which month of the year or months were the most popular for UFO sightings in America, and then I included Canada, and then it went worldwide. And I went to, of course, Peter Dassinger's website, the National UFO Reporting Center, and the one up in Chicago, SUFO's, I believe it's called. And I discovered that June, July, and October, with June being the number one month for UFO sightings in America.
Would that be because more people are outside?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think so, Rob, because I certainly was, and my UFO sightings were in June of 1995. Although I did see a UFO in the wintertime once. I don't think it was in October. I think it was closer to December, although this recent one in Stephenville, I saw that very night. That was January the 8th. So it's very rare to see them in January. That's one of the rarest months. So we have something going on, Rob, throughout the world in UFO sightings. And there are more and more people who are seeing them, but we still have the problem, Rob, of too many people staying indoors. You know, and of course, I'm glad that we're progressing technology-wise. We have high-definition television and iPods and all of that. That's all wonderful and it's great. But if we're inside watching all of that and listening to all of that, we're not outside watching the stars. Now,
Jason,
for me, I look at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's a good time for me.
Jason, we have to say so long for tonight. We've just run out of time. But you and I will be in contact with each other. Let me know what happens pertaining to Tora.
I certainly will.
And
you'll be the first to know.
Thanks, partner. You take care of yourself, okay?
Thank you, Rob, and thank you for having me.
It's always a great pleasure, Jason. Jason Leigh, www.jasonleigh.org. When I come back from the news at the top of the hour, Bobby Legend will be joining me. We're going to be talking about the Afghan government, Afghan culture, and Afghan drugs. My name's Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network. Don't go away.